Hello everyone and welcome back to the ReQuest. It's me, Captain Logan, and look, it's also Austin, the Day Ghost. Austin, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I feel like I haven't seen you in weeks.
No, I had that thought today too. I was like, oh, it's been so long since I've done anything. I guess it's been exactly a week.
It's just been a week, but it feels like, a couple of months when you're us, because you and I not only usually do at least 2 shows together in a week, but the Friday show is usually like 4, 5, 6 hours long.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've been on reading week, so like I've had like no sense of time. So like yesterday I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to do the ReQuest soon, I think. Oh yeah, it's tomorrow.
You better get that watched. Austin's in college is what he's talking about. He doesn't have like test or assignments this week. He's just got to read, so he's got more time, which is good because we're doing a double feature for Superhero Rewind on Friday night. Quick plug for that. Austin, tell everybody what we're going to be watching for that show.
We are doing Mystery Men and Spawn.
Yeah, it may be in that order. I haven't decided yet.
I don't know. I just watched a video where the Spawn movie came up. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was something about that writer.
Oh, crazy.
I think something else they worked on. But anyways.
Isn't our timing for things fascinating? Because we didn't pick that because of the news that it looks like that movie is actually maybe going to get made now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we picked it before that news came out.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, here we are.
And, I mean, we did Daredevil was the last one.
Daredevil. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, apparently we're prophets.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, that's true, because there's big news about that this week, too. I'll talk about that tomorrow night in the Captain Logan show. Anyway, so just wanted to make sure to thoroughly date this review. Tonight, Austin and I are going to talk about Lupin the Third, the First. What a mouthful. This comes out in 2019 and is maybe the most recent, or I don't know if anything has come out since this for Lupin. And this is a franchise I didn't know anything about, I'd never heard of, and one of those things that naturally has been going on for 50 years and I've never heard of, and has a million different iterations, and looks like it's kind of a James Bondian sort of thing, not just in tone a little bit. I mean, it's a heist thing, but there's definitely kind of some Bond influence in it, but also in that it seems like every now and again it gets reinvented, reworked a little bit. And if I can take this movie as any indication of what these tend to be like, and I don't know if I can, especially because it's 3D animated, it's real recent, so kind of a odd place to start, but I didn't feel lost or anything. This felt like a James Bond movie in that anybody could sit down and watch this and not have any trouble understanding what's happening with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, I don't know how much, if anything's come out after this. And I think I saw in the comments somebody said that this was like the first movie in the series released internationally, I think theatrically. So I think that was part of it, was to make sure that people could follow it.
Yeah, well, Jajira asked for this, and he's asked for lots of Japanese things before, and thanks to him for sticking around, being a patron, and staying on the rotation for the ReQuest. He messaged me, or told me somewhere, I can't remember, a day or two ago, that part of the reason that this is called The First is because it's not just the story reason that's in the movie, where this does have something to do with the first Lupin, but also because, as you say, it's the first international release and for this property, and it's the first CGI Lupin thing. So a lot of intentional firsts with this. So it sounds like kind of a cute title and a real appropriate title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to know what fans think of that, because I've always heard that the move to 3D animation for anime has been like really controversial, like even more so than it is here. So I wonder if it had any of that.
Yeah, and if that's true, that's not surprising, because it's just difficult to be as stylized and stand out and not look like anything else. Although there is I mean, I say that like when you think anime, there's particular kind of character models that you expect, but a lot of the trappings can be real different and versatile across the board. And I think just right out the gate, I'll say the animation in this is really good. It looks great and it's pretty and the detail is impressive and it's close to. I don't know if you agree with this. I think it's close to modern Pixar. Like I think it looks pretty good, but it was reminding me of all kinds of other things. You know what I mean? Because it is modern 3D animation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if I would go to Pixar, at least like in terms of animation. I'm not entirely sure. Like I was kind of bouncing around the whole movie on how I felt like comparing it to other things.
Okay, sure.
It's definitely more stylized, I guess, than
A little more cartoony.
A little more cartoony, yeah, is the right word.
But I think some of those movies have gotten to that place some too, which I guess is why I'm saying that. Like it's not super realistic looking, and the character models are like pretty cartoonish. But I don't know. Like what else would you compare it to? Maybe I mean it's certainly at least on the level of Illumination animation.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess maybe something like that in terms of like design. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'd compare it to.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I even. This is a weird conversation because I'm trying to decide if I want to compare it to other things that look more realistic, or if I want to compare it to things in just like how impressive it is in whatever it is it's trying to accomplish. You know what I mean? Which is maybe an accolade I have to give it that like it's not trying to look super real or anything. But I guess what I mean is it doesn't look lazy. I wasn't spending the whole movie wishing it was 2D. I don't know if you had that. I mean, I am now kind of curious to see what one or two of the earlier 2D Lupin things do look like, because I prefer that kind of animation, but it felt like an intentional choice, I guess is what I mean. So like I was able to very quickly adjust to it and be okay with that choice, but I did keep in the back of my mind going, God, it's weird, and nothing against Jajira, because this does feel like a real easy jumping on place, and I don't know if any of the other movies and shows and things would feel that way. So maybe that's why he gave us this. But I was a little bit frustrated going, well, this is a really popular series. I'd love to know what like the bulk of it looks like.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean I didn't really have necessarily like this is 3D animated, but I do genuinely wish that more movies were 2D animated when I watch them.
Sure, yeah.
That is just like a personal, like I just prefer 2D over 3D thing.
Yeah, same here, but there was a novelty to it because people have been requesting a lot of anime lately, and I've been looking at anime more in general in the last couple of years, and I haven't really watched very much 3D anime. So it was kind of interesting to see how they're doing it over there.
Yeah, no, that is true.
I mean, the only other 3D thing that I can think of off the top of my head that I've seen from Japan is the Final Fantasy movie from the late 90s.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, and I'm guessing those are probably all 3D, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I don't know. It was released theatrically here.
Oh, that's right, because that was on the Video Game Mania list. I forgot about that.
Yeah, which we want to get back to. I scaled back my content. Anyway, well, let's go ahead and get a synopsis out of the way, and Austin will tell us what the movie is about. We'll spoil things like we always do, so once we really get into it. So, spoiler alert, we'll give you the quick not so spoilery synopsis, and then our thoughts, and we'll talk about this in the ins and outs. But I'm really curious to see what Austin thinks about this movie, because unlike you, usually we kind of spill our guts before we get on camera. In the last couple shows, we've not done that. So like last week, I don't know what it is with anime. It's like we don't want to know when we come into the show what the other person thinks about it. But we did an anime film last week. What was that movie called again?
Oh my god, why am I blanking on it? It's like it was right there, and then you said it.
It was by the perfect blue
Millennium
guy,
Actress.
Millennium Actress. That's it. Thank you. We both thought of it at the same time, and Austin adored it, and I thought it was great, but I
Yeah.
didn't love it as much as Austin did. And
Apparently, I didn't adore it well enough to remember its name offhand.
that's true. But you said that it climbed all the way up to probably like your second or third spot.
Yeah, I did, but it was really good. I don't know. It's like you gave me that like failure in memory by not remembering it yourself.
Yeah, I shook his confidence. He was shook. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So Austin, give us a quick synopsis of this movie, and then tell us how you felt about it. We'll treat it like a sign flip video.
Okay, so the Nazis are after this treasure that you have to find with this book that is encased in this um like puzzle book thing where like you have to open it. It's a puzzle to get into it. And it's like your classic kind of adventure movie setup. And then a team of Deadpool as a chimpanzee, April O'Neil, Samurai Jack.
You're taking all my references. I was gonna say April O'Neil. You took mine.
Oh, rats! I had ones for all the other characters.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, who's the cop? Who's the police or the detective?
Oh, the cop was the only one I didn't have one for, but I had one for the rest of them, and now I'm blanking on what they were.
Well, there's the like seductress girl that flies the plane.
Yes. Oh, she's that meme version of Aunt Cass from Big Hero 6. And then
Fujiko is her name.
yeah, and then I don't remember the one I had for the detective. That's just the kind of look he has.
Yeah,
the gruff guy.
Generic detective man.
But anyways, they go on this adventure to get the treasure, and they got to battle the Nazis. Basically, it's a adventure movie.
It is indeed. I immediately getting into this, and this is the one thing I did send Austin a message about. I watched the cold open and the credits, and I sent Austin a message to make sure that he watched the English dub, because I started watching the Japanese dub, and then I realized the English one was available, so I'm going to watch that. And I'm glad I did, because I have something in a little bit I want to mention about the guy voicing Lupin. So quick check mark there. I need to make sure that I come back to that later. But anyway, I sent Austin a message, and I'm like, this immediately feels like your kind of thing. And then a few minutes later, I sent him another message. I was like, you know what? Actually, I don't know if that's true.
And that was my experience watching it.
Was it really?
Yeah, because I was like, the beginning of this movie, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then we get into like the present day stuff, or not present day, because I think it takes place in the 50s.
Yes. No, it takes place in the 50s. It's 10 years after the end of the war.
Yeah, exactly. And we start to get like a lot of the stuff that like I don't really care about in anime, like the constant yelling and like big spastic reactions and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm like not as into this, but like whatever, like I was in with that opening. Like, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then
no, the opening's great.
Yeah.
But I wanted to stay in that time period. I was immediately disappointed when we jumped ahead. When we jumped 10 years, I had my heart sunk a little bit, and I was like, oh, I thought we were in for like kind of a fun World War II epic, and I thought it was going to get like maybe crazy and bombastic with maybe some crazy pseudoscience with Nazis and stuff. And you're a big Hellboy fan, so like
like Hellboy or like the DeMatteis Creature Commandos comics. Like,
sure, yeah,
there was some cool stuff to go with there, and then we jumped ahead, and I was like, oh, that's.
And then
in the 40s.
About 40 minutes in, it looks like we're gonna go back to that stuff where it's like, I really perked up when we get to this revelation, air quotes. Here's a spoiler, where it's like, oh, Hitler's actually alive still, and it turns out that's not true.
Yeah, no, and a lot of that stuff, I was like, oh, this is great. I feel like this is a movie that I should like, where like all the pieces are there.
Yeah.
And then it's like stapled together with a protagonist I think is incredibly obnoxious.
Okay, so you had exactly the experience I did with
drops it down heavily.
So I was really wondering if you were going to say that and if you'd have the same thing I did. I'm 100% in agreement with you. We're going to have the same review, it sounds like, because I came in deciding that my main focus for this review was going to be how often do you have a story where all the pieces, like as you say, all the pieces are in place. The plotting is pretty good. Setup and payoff is great. I'm buying more or less everything that's happening, except for maybe characters holding onto an airplane and not falling off as it's doing loop to loops. I had a hard time with that.
It's fine. It's a cartoony adventure thing. I can accept that.
I just kept waiting for them to fly off the back. But anyway, more.
It would have been fun if they like let go and then like they had to spin around and catch them again. That would have been cool.
More or less, I am. Yeah, no, that's true. That would have been fun. More or less, I'm buying the internal logic of it. I'm liking the style of it. The soundtrack is spectacular. Japan is the place to go for modern jazz, man. It's just like soundtrack after soundtrack after soundtrack with fantastic jazz. Never mind the fact that it does keep ripping off the James Bond chord progression just again and again and again. Beyond that, the jazz score is spectacular. Like this is a score I might actually go back and listen to on its own. I was reminded a lot of like Incredibles in movies like that. But then and like I said, I don't know. I don't usually praise plot real hard, but like this is one of those things where it's character driven enough, I guess. Like the main female protagonist is likable and sympathetic enough, but it's one of the only things I can think of that I've ever seen where I liked everything but the main guy. Mm-hmm. Like I was fine with everything else. Lupin is insufferable. Like, yeah. I'm sorry.
No, like every single scene he shows up in, it like drags the movie down, and I'm like, get him away from here.
And he's supposed to be
because I like that main girl. I think her story is way better.
It is, but and they're intertwined, and on paper, I like their potential for chemistry. Like I have to keep kind of looking at him as a silhouette or a blank slate or something, and just imagine a different character with the same story. Because I wasn't buying anything with him. Like, and what I mean is, I wasn't buying what I was being sold, is what I'm saying. Like, okay, so he's this, like, charming super spy that can do, or super spy, super thief, who can do anything. He's supposed to be, like, a gentleman thief. Never really bought into the gentleman thing. I didn't find him, like, suave the way he was being presented. I thought he looked and acted like a monkey. Like he just, and sounds like a monkey, like that irritating laugh he has. And I'm sure these are all like staples of this character that I'm supposed to find funny and charming. And here's the problem: the animes that I have, by and large, enjoyed the most so far have been super friggin' serious. Or like kind of creepy psychological thriller things that maybe aren't especially realistic and are real, again, stylized, heightened, supernatural kinds of things. But the comedy never works for me. Like I've not found that comedic anime that I like. I can't find it. Somebody had me watch, what was it? Hunter x Hunter. And I did the pilot for that when I did a reaction stream a couple months ago, and I thought that was kind of insufferable. Like I don't like that. That's too strong. But like I didn't get what all the hubbub was about. Like it wasn't funny to me. It's just these things like hold up a sign and say you're supposed to be laughing now. Look how goofy characters are acting. And this one's weird because you have some places where the cop, for the inspector guy, for instance, is acting like his reactions are pretty over the top, but pretty exaggerated. For the most part, it's just Lupin though. Like, there's not a lot of those moments where it's played more or less straight, and then all of a sudden somebody has this insane reaction where their entire face turns into something completely different, and he's at least consistently obnoxious. You know what I mean? It's not that thing where it keeps taking me out with it, or it's intrusive about it. But it's just that one guy. He is that the whole time. To 11.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. No, it was like watching an Indiana Jones movie where Deadpool replaced Indiana Jones, and I'm like, oh, this just isn't my sense of humor. Like, I don't need this character like riffing every single thing that happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was very annoying.
And maybe if this was material that overall I was really sucked into, despite that, I'd adjust to it and watch more movies in the series and like come to figure out what is supposed to be fun about that, like what the charm is. But right now, I just don't get it.
Well, part of me would like to look at one of the older ones just because, like, I don't know if it's this character is always exactly this or if it's like too influenced by other things at this point that do that.
Yeah, I would be really curious to watch the Miyazaki one, which is apparently his first movie. I think that's in the late 70s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, like I would definitely watch that. I'm not against watching anything else in the series. It's just I don't know if I'll love it after watching this, but I could definitely see this being more an impact of everything that we're doing now, and especially Hollywood.
Yeah, I'll be a little surprised. Like, just with the still images I've seen and stuff, it seems like he still has that kind of crazy exaggerated phase. I think that's going to turn out to be a staple of this character. And
when he can definitely still have the monkey face, I just don't need the like the constant like annoying banter is like more so my thing.
Yeah, when I think of the gentleman thief idea, I think of something close, and I know I bring this up all the time, but I love this movie. I think of something more like Danger Diabolik, and this is the polar opposite of that. Diabolik doesn't talk. That's his whole thing, and he communicates everything, like all of his emotion, everything in his eyebrows, and then he does have this great villain laugh that he occasionally does, and but like he doesn't speak very much, and I kept missing that with this because it was the exact polar opposite of that, and I don't know. It's just you'd think like you want your thief to be like real stealthy, and he doesn't really need a lot of words, right? Like, I mean, to be fair, there's plenty of thief characters that do talk a lot, I guess. But I guess because I just wasn't loving what he was laying down, I kept wishing that I was watching like a more monosyllabic thief character. I don't know, but you get like Gambit. Like Gambit's a bit of a talker.
Well, I was thinking of Sly Cooper, and Sly Cooper is definitely a jokey character. Like has his moments. He's not entirely a jokey character, but he's got like his own like little team, and he's got the cop that's always after him. So I was thinking about that a lot.
Okay.
So there's definitely like tropes of things that I like that are in this.
Well, I was gonna say like like we said earlier, all of the trappings of this, like the major components, are like very very much your wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, you got the treasure hunting thing. Obviously you can't watch a thing like this without thinking about Indiana Jones or a Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, this is the type of thing I was obsessed with as a kid. I used to buy books about treasures and things like that, and I learn about them, like, and then I like the history aspect, or like the alternate history, I guess you could go with too.
But I wanted this to be even more alternate.
I do definitely wish Hitler was actually alive.
I was disappointed that they didn't. Yeah, he doesn't mean in real life, but yeah. I was disappointed that it didn't go to crazy places, because one of the things that I've most appreciated now that I'm delving a little bit more into Japanese entertainment is that it very often just doesn't seem afraid to get like weird and risk losing an audience. Like these kinds of and I don't mean to paint anime as a genre, but it just seems like as a culture, Japan in general is making more stuff for like niche audiences where it doesn't have to be for everybody, but at the same time also things that are more for families, and like kids and adults are included all together, which is a thing I did really appreciate about this. I wish we made more things like this. I just didn't like the protagonist very much. But don't get me wrong, this is the kind of family fare I'm asking for in America right now. Like absolutely, we need more stuff like this.
Yeah, definitely. I can agree with that.
I was going somewhere with that comment, but it kind of turned into something else. Let me read the super chat real quick. Fella, $10 super chat says Miyazaki's film is great, but doesn't represent the material well. I recommend Mystery of Mamo next if you want to try Lupin again with something more classic. And then Ruski right before that said Lupin acts a bit less like Lupin in the Miyazaki one, so maybe you'll love that.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. but real quick, what I was getting at a minute ago, and then I'll respond more to the super chat because it just came to me where I was going with that is again the risk taking nature of a lot of Japanese entertainment, especially stuff with supernatural components, where I've gotten accustomed enough to anime now. Not that I'm a big fan or I've seen a ton yet, but I've kind of gotten accustomed to not being able to tell where things are going and being kind of surprised when it does the weird off the beaten path thing that we would probably never do here with the same kind of piece. What I mean is we play it safe too often here, and that's not to say there aren't exceptions to that, but it seems like that's the rule over there. Is a lot of stuff is not as callable. And
go a bit more crazy.
Yeah, and so both in like how characters respond to things and interact and stuff. Like the ending of this with the fake grandpa, who's like has kind of a generic take over the world sort of plot, and is not interested in bringing back the Third Reich, but just wants to rule everything himself. He's like trying to create his own legacy. He's drunk with power. That guy I didn't expect to be at all redeemed, and we can talk about whether or not that was kind of like shoved in, or if we really bought the choice he makes at the end, but that's very Japanese.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely.
Like here we're just gonna throw that guy under the bus. In Japan, he's got to make the sacrifice. We gotta make people feel a little bit more well-rounded and layered. Mm-hmm. And so I appreciate that, but boy, it's kind of crazy that we didn't do anything like insane at all with the Nazi stuff. We got micro black holes, and that's cool, and we do some fun like crazy science stuff. But Jajiro was saying earlier that they do nutty like alternate history stuff in other versions of Lupin, so it would have been apparently right at home for them to go to that place. And yeah, they set up his wearing disguises at the beginning, and so like it was well set up that by the end he's going to be pretending to be Hitler. But boy, I was let down by that.
It should have been Hitler in a rocket wheelchair. And he fights them.
Jajira, $10 super chat. Well, Jajira, this stuff I don't know anything about. He says, weird that Cap says more family films should be like this when Lupin was the first anime aimed for only adults and still is. This film is more toned down. Sure, but I'm just taking the thing that I'm seeing. So that also makes it kind of an odd place to start with this, right? Because the sense I got watching this, and that's why I was surprised when you were talking about vampire presidents or whatever it was you were talking about earlier. I'll have to go back and look at that.
What?
You talking about something that sounded nuts that I was like, I wish I was watching that.
That's awesome.
I gotta go back and look at what he said at the beginning of the show. But yeah, before he said that, I assumed the whole property was a little bit more toned down, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
He says, oh no, it's even crazier than what I was saying. Jajira says, this series has stuff like Jesus' vampire twin sister and an evil clone of Leonardo da Vinci. How do we not have, Hitler in a wheelchair in this? That sounds like a tame compared to other stuff this does.
Well, judging by this, it should have been Hitler's in a wheelchair, and he's also, Jesus' mean stepdad.
Jesus mean stepdad?
Yeah.
How does that even work when you're immaculately conceived? Anyway.
Well, I mean, Joseph is already his stepdad.
Oh, that's
so
a good
maybe
point.
Mary separated and then got with Hitler later on.
No, that's a good point. I guess he does sort of count as a stepdad. Boy, that's awkward if you're Joseph, where you're like, where do I even fit in this family tree?
Yeah, no, exactly.
But yeah, to both of their point, that definitely makes me curious about one or two of the other movies. I mean, Miyazaki is probably the next place I would go, even if it doesn't represent the material. If it's not a perfect representation of that material, just because I've liked the couple of other films I've seen of his, but
And it's just interesting historically.
yeah. Yeah, it's just like my main takeaway with this is it doesn't really make me want to jump into this material.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like I
Yeah, no,
enjoyed the
exactly.
action and I enjoyed a couple of the characters. I thought the Japanese guy with the sword was great.
Hmm. Yeah, for a while I was like, I don't know if this is a great introduction to this material because these characters just keep showing up and there's no explanation to who they are or anything. And then later on, they actually become characters.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit better.
Did that take a little too long for you?
I just kind of questioned it, but then eventually they become characters in the movie, so I guess it's fine ultimately.
I
But
liked how they just dropped in though, because it gave you the sense of a lived-in world where there was a lot of history with this guy, and he had dealt with these people before or worked with some of them, but we didn't really need to know about those adventures necessarily. Like I felt
Mhm,
dropped in the right kind of way, where I wasn't lost or anything.
mhm.
And even if those characters hadn't been especially fleshed out, like they're archetypes.
Yeah,
you
no, of
you
course.
kind of get the roles that they're supposed to be playing. But as soon as the Japanese guy started going on about his kind of obsession with his sword, he didn't want to leave it behind, and he didn't like the disrespectful way it was being used in the mission and stuff. I was like, this is great. I love this guy.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I think we're just both in agreement that everything in this movie works except the protagonist.
Except for the main guy, and I like ideas surrounding him. There's some good nature nurture stuff. I like the destiny question with both him and the lead, the female character who wants to be an archaeologist. I found her good and tragic until by the end she kind of gets everything she wants, and I think she earns it. I bought all that. I loved all that. I like that she gets to go to school and be an archaeologist at the end. I really appreciate that she doesn't go off with Lupin, but there's kind of this this destiny. Like I had this one flash of Lupin being kind of a cool character at the end, where there's again this kind of destiny question: where is she destined to be an archaeologist the same way he was destined to be a thief? Or are they more destined to be together because of the historic way their paths end up crossing, because of because of who their grandfathers were and how that kind of put them on the path that they're on now. So when you get to the end, it almost feels like she is smitten with him and thinking about going with him because she thinks that's what she's supposed to do. Maybe that was kind of my read on it. And then whether he does this on purpose or not, he kind of reminds her what it is she really wants, and by not giving her really the choice to be with him, he kind of hands her what she really wants her future or destiny or what have you to be. And so at the end of the day, whether each of them was, chosen by Providence to have the career they have, she is making that choice to do what she really wants to, and that's why I like the nature nurture thing, because you can't really tell which it is, but she wouldn't be happy if she went with him, and he wouldn't be either. I don't know what he's talking about with them. I'll see you in 5 years thing. I that was lost on me, but.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I liked that. I liked that he kind of I couldn't tell if that was an insight on his part or if he's just not going to settle down with a woman. And
Hmm.
also he's kind of a womanizer, and there's some awkward lines with his being a womanizer. That whole business
Yeah.
of I could pay you with my body thing. I was like, we need a new translation.
Or we need somebody to deliver that line that's not like, I'll pay you with my body.
I'm just imagining Bane saying it. And I'll pay you with my body. and then we'll crash this plane with no survivors.
Come on, Aunt Cass from Big Hero 6. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, there is a slight Big Hero 6 vibe to this in general.
I guess I didn't really have that, but less generic.
It's just weird that you brought it up because I kept thinking that.
Oh, okay.
I don't completely know why really, but
every time I saw that lady who I refer to as Big Boob Lady, I was like, it's just the meme version of Aunt Cass.
You know what? Honestly, I think it's probably just certain like animations in faces and stuff that certain characters have. It's probably just that.
Big Hero 6 is Disney trying to do like a more anime-inspired 3D animation. Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't mean in story or characterization or anything really. But there's a vibe in there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And and this isn't anything like as good as that, but.
Well, and you like that movie more than I do.
I like that movie more than anyone, apparently, which is funny because I don't even go back to it. Like it's a I like it on paper kind of thing. It's like whenever I start thinking about that movie, I get like really excited about the writing, but it's not a movie that I like love sitting down and watching. I just really like what's in it. I guess if I spend any time thinking about it.
I just know that movie is the big balloon guy, and everything else is completely unmemorable.
Yeah, I don't know. It's my analytical brain versus my I'm being entertained right now brain. Those are different things. And they were loggerheads with this too, because there's some ideas in this I really appreciated, and the action is really good. But like I said, I just didn't care about our lead guy.
Yeah, well, I got really excited near the end I shouldn't say I got excited, but because I knew they weren't gonna kill him, but they were like, "Oh, he's gonna die," and I was like, "Oh, they're not gonna do it." But you're making me hopeful.
I missed a super chat at the beginning, and I don't know what he's talking about, but Teddy put in a $2 super chat at the beginning and just said, "Be prepared, Cap." I don't know what he's talking about.
He said something about he's going to join the request here and request something really weird.
Oh, no.
And he was trying to guess people to or get people to guess what it was.
Oh, okay, I see.
But I didn't see if he ended up saying what it was or not.
Okay, well, thanks for joining the tier if you end up doing that. I might rescind that thanks after whatever it is you end up requesting. I guess we'll see.
That or he's just a really big fan of The Lion King and he loves that song.
Well, that was the first thing that came to my mind, yeah. I don't think that's what it is, though. But, yeah, thanks again for the super chat. He popped in the show last night and we were chatting a little bit. Austin...
His next super chat will be Shiny New Era's Tiptoeing Nearer.
So... I recognized the name of the voice actor who plays Lupin, and it's Tony Oliver, and I was like, where do I know that name from? And of course, the first thing I thought was, well, it sort of sounds like Tommy Oliver, who's a Power Ranger, but I'm sure it's not that. I'm sure I've seen this actual name somewhere. Would you believe that it is actually directly related to Power Rangers? Is where I've seen this name before. So apologies for having to talk about Power Rangers again, because for people that don't care about Power Rangers. But this is interesting, Austin. So Tony Oliver is an associate producer on I think all of Mighty Morphin, and he wrote some for I think that show, and I know he wrote on Zeo, and he voice acts in several of the earlier shows. And he is, so I know his name more as a producer because it shows up in probably every episode of Mighty Morphin. And I also kind of wonder if maybe Tommy was named after him. I don't, this is not a thing I've heard before, but in the producers and writers, there is both an Oliver and a Saint John. Oh, but wait, that's just Austin St. John, who's not a character name, but a real person. So, yeah, I guess I don't know. For some reason, there's two St. Johns related. Yeah, I'm just saying things. I don't know. Yeah, no, never mind. Yeah, because there's not there's not like a Scott in the production. So I guess that has nothing to do with that. Well, anyway.
There's neither Scott, Gene, nor Storm.
No, remember these names. But it's... So it's entirely possible that that's just a coincidence. But anyway, he is also the voice of Saba, who is Tommy the White Ranger's talking British-sounding sword.
He's got a British sword
named Saba. Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I have a Saba, and he talks. So it's apparently this guy's voice. Isn't that crazy?
So you hit a button on your sword, and it's like, "Hi, I'm Saba."
He doesn't say that, but yeah, you make him sound like a Simpsons toy or something.
And then he smiles at you with his chimp smile, where he's like
a crusty doll. Man, the facial expressions, I couldn't deal with it. From the start, I was just like, really, I gotta watch this guy the whole movie going like stop. And again, it's not like every character does that. And I mean, thank God.
Yeah. It's just his chimp looks.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that he's Saba. That was crazy. Chewbacca's Lover, $5 super chat. Japan is a lot less sensitive about comedic perverted characters. They are still sort of in the 80s with how that's treated like no times past. Yeah, I keep noticing that in things. That is true. And just and you're seeing, I mean, it's refreshing in its way, not that, but
yeah, whoa, be careful where you're treading here, Cap.
The ways in which Japan's storytelling hasn't changed too much is kind of refreshing, because I keep complaining about the lack of romance in a lot of stuff that we're making here with like action things and superhero stuff, and we haven't lost it in Japan, so that's kind of nice. Like you don't want everything to be like, you know, cliche and stuck in a rut where it has to be, you know, the same formula over and over again. But there's some things that are just kind of like a human condition that people can relate to, and romance is one of those things. And it feels, you know, kind of weirdly sterile to avoid it. Like not doing it is more relatable. Where it's like to try to get away from an archetype, we'll just never have characters fall in love anymore, and that'll be that. So it's kind of refreshing that they're not doing that, but they are kind of hanging on to like some, you know, womanizing characters and stuff like that. That's kind of weirdly feels like a throwback right now.
Well, and there's nothing that makes me go, "Oh, I don't want to get into this," more than like the constant like perverted schoolgirl stuff in a lot of anime. That's a lot of the stuff that I go like, "Oh, I don't want to watch this."
Yeah. No, exactly. We're just really immature.
Or that like stupid Joss Whedon like falling into a girl's boobs thing. I've seen that in a lot of animes that friends have shown me. I'm like, I don't need this.
Yeah, I've watched a couple things
funny.
where and just awkward. Like sometimes it's played for comedy, and sometimes it's I think it's supposed to be you know, playing for the male audience, the male gaze or whatever, where like I've seen things with girls with like, I don't know, it's just all really immature, right? Girls with a really short skirt, and the camera is like uncomfortably close to the woman's backside, and you're like, why are we shooting it like that? And then characters have to like comment on it, or the girl is like kind of pretending like she doesn't know that everybody's staring at her or whatever, and I don't know. I keep seeing that in things. I keep like the couple of animes I've been trying to.
Pervert is what we're saying.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Apparently,
they have raptor rooms, people.
but it just feels so weird to see that now, because there's this kind of feeling, whether it's true or not, that you can't even get away with that in this country anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, that was, I thought, always one of the funniest things with a lot of the gaming stuff, you know, where people were complaining about sexism in games in America, and then most examples were Japanese.
Teddy put in a $20 super chat. Thanks a lot, man. He says, I'm going to wait a bit when I do end up requesting it, and I will, because the idea of you watching this particular cinematic masterpiece is funny to me. Oh, no. I don't know how you'll react. It's an Andy Kaufman thing. Oh, interesting. Okay, what Kaufman thing could he possibly be talking about? And by the way, Teddy, you've yeah, I don't usually do it like this, but he's a new reviewer and he's thrown in a lot of super chats the last couple days. We can consider that for a request if you'd like. I'll go ahead and take it now. Because he just put in a $20 super chat. I'll totally take a request for that.
There you go.
But yeah,
it's being said again.
is there a? Yeah, I don't mean to do that. Like it'd be, I prefer people going through Patreon, but I mean you don't have to stay on Patreon to do that. And I've taken requests via PayPal before, so I mean it doesn't really matter what the source is. You know what I mean? Like a one-time thing. Who cares?
All I'm saying is ban Teddy.
No. Thanks, Teddy. We appreciate it. Well, and I mean, I guess one thing we could start doing is we could say, like with a $15-20 super chat, we'll put you on the list for a request, but just know the wait's like 4.5, 5 months. And if that happens very much, that list will get much longer. Obviously, I'm just wondering what that is because did Andy Kaufman even make films?
I mean, it must have. Watch it be Man on the Moon.
Yeah, which I think I've reviewed before. I think I've talked about that.
I think you have.
I love that movie, by the way, and my wife looks for every opportunity to watch that again. So,
well, there you go.
Dan Schneider, $2 super chat. Thank you. He says Japan would not water down the Animaniacs.
I don't know. Nope. I don't know anything about any of that.
That's true. Yeah, I don't want to get into that again. That was an awkward thing to have to talk about when the pilot for that new show dropped. But yeah, that is the thing I complained about, where it's like, if again, I don't need a lot of like womanizing characters or whatever, but they just tried too hard. They went too far with that, where it's like, well, if you're not gonna do the show, don't do the show. And what was irritating about it is some of the comedy was really authentic and actually quite good and satirical and funny, but it was trying too hard to be, I don't know, PC or progressive or whatever you want to call it. But like in the intro song, they couldn't, like, apparently it was to them too, what's the word I'm looking for? It would make and remember, like, a cartoon girl who's not even a human being seem to like, I don't know, objectified or something, to call her cute in the intro, or like we're reducing her to only that if we refer to her that way, which I think is ridiculous. So like in the original song, it was Dot is cute and Yakko yaks, and they felt the need to change that line. And,
okay.
And I just thought that was bizarre. And it was like, it's been a couple of years now, so I can't remember what it was. It was like Dot
Yak and Yakko.
No, I forget what it is now, but I thought it was so strange they had to change that.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I know about
it.
Are we sure about that?
Dot has wit and Yakko yaks. Okay. And what's hilarious about that is, like, we've got to make sure that female character is witty and not just cute. But then Yakko yaks. Okay, like, it's fine that his prevailing character trait is he just rambles, or whatever yak means in that context, but we can't call
the animal, he's a yak.
But don't call the girl cute. That's offensive. We can't have that. It's like, that doesn't have to be that character's only character trait. I don't know, it's very strange. Anyway.
It'll be when
it was a Goofy Kids cartoon. I don't know. Like, why are we that worried about this? Like, anyway.
When we have, like, AI sex dolls, they'll have to change Donatello to not does machines for the same reason.
Daniverse, I don't see what's wrong with cute. I know. Teddy, wit can be cute. Sure. No, that's true. She can be cute and witty. Rumsky, Lupin, I'm sorry, Lupin the Third, where we talk about everything but Lupin the Third. Well, what else do we have to say about this movie? Somebody earlier, you know what, it was Jajira was saying that, and again, he knows this material, that compared to other Lupin things, he didn't really care for the villains in this. Did you find them kind of generic?
Yeah, but I mean, I have that with a lot of adventure movies, so
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of just another thing in the genre.
I needed a robot Hitler or something.
I
I
mean,
I
I
really
needed like some
did.
cowboy stuff where you have Hitler's head in a jar and like a
Yeah.
cyborg ape, and then that gorilla, like a cyborg gorilla that turns out to be Lupin's dad, and that's why he looks like a chimp.
And oh god, and I will say, it's like, dude, just shave the sideburns, okay? When you get to the end, I'm sorry, Lupin fans, I didn't like the look of the character. I couldn't get into any of that. But when I liked things about the villain duo. Like it was kind of unpredictable, and I didn't really know where all that was going. Where you get to the end and it flips, where I kept waiting for her, fake grandfather character to be redeemed in some way, and I guess he sort of kind of was when he sacrifices himself for her at the end. But I thought it was going to happen earlier, and I didn't expect him to become the main threat like he did.
Hmm.
So I kind of liked that, and I liked when the tables were turned, and like the whole movie, you're kind of waiting for the Nazi guy to shoot him in the head. Like that moment where he throws her out of the airplane, I thought he was going to toss them both.
Hmm. Yeah, I wondered that for a second too. Well, I feel like the switch thing with the villains is something we do a lot more of now. Like that's what the Uncharted movie did too.
Yeah,
And I feel like there's something
I
else
haven't
that I'm
seen that,
blanking
but
on, but I feel like that is becoming more of a trend.
um, but yeah, so I guess I liked the villains more when we got to the end. I was a little bit frustrated retroactively with the opening, where I kind of the structure of this is a little typical, and I felt like the mystery would have been more compelling if we didn't already know more than the protagonist did.
Hmm.
Did you have that where like I kind of didn't I think I kind of didn't want to know that both of their grandfathers uh, had been there in the past with the book, and we see Lupin's grandfather get killed. Is it him or is it the other one? I can't remember now.
I think so, yeah.
And then like you see her fake grandfather like get the other one killed basically, and then adopt her, and it's a big mystery to the two of them, like who he is really and how she was adopted and everything. But we already know all of that.
Hmm.
So like if you're really paying attention, you kind of know too much more than your protagonists do. I don't love that.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand where you're coming from. I didn't really have an issue with that, but, but I can see where you're coming from.
And again, it's typical. Like we do that kind of thing a lot. But I guess my issue with it is just it was played as too much of a mystery, and so like I kind of wanted to be more sucked into the mystery. And then when it looked like there was a bigger mystery of what the conspiracy was and like who was maybe behind it, then I got more excited about it. And then it turned out that they weren't actually working with Hitler. They just thought he was alive because there was a picture that somebody manufactured.
I know we all wanted him to come back
Yeah,
as
I
a
get
robot.
that's our main review. Is they're just it looked like we had Hitler and then we didn't, and that was
I'm pretty
disappointing.
sure the Cap's big takeaway is remove Lupin and replace him with Robot Hitler.
Which is
And
so
then
weird because when we thought we were looking at Hitler, it's actually Lupin who we don't care for.
Mhm. No, but I'm getting the sense that you want him to be the main character instead of Lupin.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's not what I'm saying. No, honestly, I mean, this wouldn't even get made because it's a Lupin thing. But like, I just wanted the girl to be the main character. Like,
Hmm.
I was fine with that.
Yeah, you want the Garfield without Garfield version of this.
Exactly. The thematic, yeah, wouldn't it be great if you didn't have that guy, but she was like kind of halfway falling in love with nothing.
With a sense of being independent, Cap.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, the thing thematically that I really appreciated was the kind of the speech that she has about speaking of that about the importance of romance in their respective jobs, not like romance with a person, but the necessity of romanticizing the field you're in. I liked that whole thing.
Hmm.
Where she's
Uh,
like that's a thing that sometimes people lose with both in Lupin's field thieving and in her field archaeology, that there's a passion that kind of necessitates or there, like you need a passion to be any good at that, and to make your life worthwhile. And that's why the payoff for that at the end with her choosing that over Lupin. That's why I really liked that whole thing.
hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. Well, it gives the sense because a lot of these types of characters they have like like the Bond girl or whatever per movie, so it gives the sense that that's who this character is. Like she was probably not in any of the other movies, and that's
Yeah,
why she won't continue to adventure with him. She's going to do her thing. She's got a completed story.
yeah, but maybe it's a problem that my favorite character was this one-off character,
Hmm.
and I didn't really latch that hard onto Lupin or a supporting cast, with
Hmm.
with the exception of the Japanese guy with the sword. Like he's great.
Yeah,
But
no,
I
I
thought the others were kind of
agree.
just archetypes I've seen before. Like there wasn't anything new that really jumped out at me about again the inspector that's just chasing them all. Like the end of the movie is, oh man, he's chasing him again, and I'm sure Lupin's gonna get out of it somehow. Like okay, I don't know. I've been here and seen this before, and I've never even looked at this material. You know.
Well, I just thought it was weird because it's my first introduction to this material, and I've already seen them team up. So I don't like. I thought that was a little weird.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, we don't mean to criticize the choice too much, though, Jajira. We just in that way, it was kind of a weird place to start, maybe.
Yeah, get out of here, Joe.
Bob the Hun, $2 super chat. Anime has a lot of old school sensibilities. Yep, I I think we've kind of established that. But yeah, thanks for the super chat.
The funniest thing like that of just like a weird cultural difference
Yeah.
is um some of my siblings got like really into Miyazaki, and they were showing my dad a bunch of them. And I go over and I'm like, how are you enjoying these Miyazaki movies they're showing you? And he's like, oh, there's this one that they made me watch, and like there's this really weird moment where a granddad bathes with his grandkids. I don't know what was happening in that scene. It was really weird. It was just really funny hearing my dad trying to explain it.
Yeah, it's a good call. Yeah, that's weirder now in a way it wouldn't have been 40 years ago. Dan Schneider, $5 super chat. Good luck monetizing this video where you talk about how starved you were for Hitler's presents. Let's hope this doesn't get taken down. Well, this has happened to us before too. Not a video that was taken down, but I think maybe the only video, or at least the only one I know about, where we got demonetized. So not a strike or anything, but demonetized for content, was a video where it was another ReQuest. The conversation, no, not the conversation.
No, it's that conspiracy.
Thank you, conspiracy, where we said the word Nazi one too many times apparently for the
I
algorithm or for the bots.
I'm still convinced it's because like both the view count and partly for that is because the video is conspiracy bracket 2001,
That actually might have been the real reason.
and so
That's also the reason that it got a lot of views, I guess.
it has to be like there's no way that just enough people were that interested in this like HBO TV movie. It has to be a lot of people were looking up conspiracy
Like
2001,
9/11 things, yeah.
and then they saw a thumbnail of Nazis and went, "Ooh, what's this one?"
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. It's like how wild and nuts is this conspiracy theory gonna?
Yeah, what's
Because
this one gonna be?
didn't that get like 19,000 views or something
Yeah,
crazy?
something crazy. Yeah.
Dan Schneider. Oh, sorry. I just read that super chat. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, no, we're not.
Well, now we're gonna get demonetized for saying Dan Schneider.
It's it's not Nazi and Hitler worship. It's just in the context of the movie, the idea of a crazy evil robot Hitler sounded more interesting than what we watched.
Sure, Cap. Sure.
Anyway, well,
All I'm saying is, if you're watching this, edit those parts out and release them as out of
Don't do
context
that.
clips.
Don't do that. Anyway, this has really gone off the rails. I'm gonna ask for no more World War II content of any kind from now on. This is like the fourth or fifth thing you and I have reviewed together that has something to do with World War II. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, there is a lot of World War II stuff, a lot of history stuff in general.
Did you do that Robin Williams movie with me, or did I
Yes,
do that alone?
Jacob the Liar.
That sucks.
That sucked because there was no Hitler in it.
That's not why. It was just bad. Teddy, thanks again for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. He says, dude, don't feel bad. I was watching House. House, the show House, the other day, and I was like, man, this would have been way better if Hitler was in it. I just want to watch the producers. We're just making Hitler jokes all night.
Where House is just like, I don't know if I can save him, but it's my job, it's my oath. Well, there is an episode like that with James Earl Jones where he's like an African dictator, so I guess
no way
a thing like that. Yeah.
Can I watch that episode out of context?
Probably.
There's a House episode where James Earl Jones is an African dictator. Like, oh my god, I gotta see that. I was just
sick, and it's like do I save him? Like he's killed a ton of people. Yeah. I don't know.
But here's the thing: I've rarely seen James Earl Jones play a bad guy. Mm-hmm. So like I really want on screen, not just Vader. And I love to see that. But like I was just listening to James Earl Jones interviews like yesterday or the day before, and I've kind of been I've had an anchoring to watch something with him in it. So now all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, I might watch that right after this. I want to see that. It sounds awesome.
I think that's like a big fan favorite episode if I remember correctly. But
oh boy, I'm gonna do it. Daniverse, very telling that conspiracy video has 15,000 views but only 72 likes. Oh
exactly.
No, absolutely, that's exactly right. Nobody was, but yeah, it's a TV movie from the early 2000s. Nobody was looking for that.
No, exactly. If only there was 911 likes.
I don't know what's happened to this channel, but it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Just the direction things are going right now. I'm fascinated by it. Really appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us tonight. So real quick final thoughts about this. I didn't like the protagonist, but overall the movie was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was a good movie. Same thing. I would actually show this to my kids, or at least to Jason and Freddie.
Mm-hmm. You'll probably edit it down to cut him out of it. But...
I just want to make him like invisible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll probably check out at least another one of these to see, how it compares, and because I know I don't know if it's one of the reasons for why he picked this, but he's mentioned it a few times. This is the same director that's doing the new Godzilla, and I'm super excited for that.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. Teddy wants to know if I'm going to take his weird request. I don't know what the actual request is.
Oh, he said it earlier. Hold on. Where was it?
I saw him give the runtime, but I didn't see what the actual thing was.
No. He put it in the title.
My breakfast.
My breakfast something, yeah. Oh, my breakfast in Blase.
A mockumentary. Yeah, I will tentatively say yeah. We'll do that. Nobody's gonna watch that, but I say that you never know. You never know. That's why I don't take requests based on what I think the interest is going to be. But no, I'm curious about it. Yeah, we'll do it. Why not? I mean, I'm curious about it because I find Andy Kaufman fascinating as a historical study, but I haven't spent a lot of time actually looking at real footage of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. I just had the thought, this whole Hitler thing, like it should have had Hitler, It reminds me of John Subject 879 who does the Smallville videos. He and I watched all the Scream movies together in a watch party,
Yeah.
and we watched three, and three is boring. And there's one scene where they're in a in a producer's office, and there's like a robot behind him. And for like 3 years now, I've constantly been like at him going, the robot should have been the killer. That's what it should have been. That should have been the reveal. And that reminds me of this Hitler thing.
Jojira says, "It's okay, Cap. This was used to see if it worked as an introduction." I think the movie stands alone really well, but not knowing.
Yeah, definitely.
But not so like in that sense, yeah, absolutely. Like if you really love this movie, Jojira, and you just want people to watch it, and because whoever it is, you think that they'll like the movie, yeah, sure. But I haven't seen any of the rest of Lupin stuff, so it's hard for me to say if obviously I can't say if it's indicative of any of the rest of it. But if you're wondering if it would make us like want to run off and start looking at Lupin stuff, it didn't have that effect on me, just because the one element I didn't like was the main character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like adventure movies, so I'll check it out because, like I said, there's that part of me that's wondering if it's just like a modern dialogue issue. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And I didn't even really have that thought when I was watching it, but it absolutely could be that. And like I said, boy, that score is dynamite. I mean, like, there's a couple elements of this that aren't just good; they're like spectacular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And there's some really good choreography and some of the action and stuff. Like, I don't want to overshadow that. Like some of the stuff toward the end is really good. You know, the stuff like the anti-grav scene is kind of cool. And
unlike Cap, I think it's cool to hang on to a plane while it does a loop-de-loop.
I was just imagining, like I get that it's a cartoon, but I kept thinking, like, God, could you imagine if you're actually holding on to that? Like, you just slide right off of it, and then they're gripping it like with their fingertips. Like they don't even have handholds.
No, I was imagining it, and I was like, I could do that. Like, just hanging on.
Jajira, I think the film is fine. It's not my favorite. Okay, it sounds like he even agrees with some of what we're saying. Maybe not that the main character's not great, because
probably not that aspect.
He probably likes him fine, but if he's a fan of Lupin. Dan Schneider, $5 super chat, says, to what we were talking about earlier, ironic given that you're the only non-political channel on this godforsaken site. That's not true. That's not. I appreciate that, but that is not true.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's just sad because iCarly got canceled again.
Yeah, but that's par for the course, man. That's every video thing. Like, you're so like, if all you get is canceled, you can't be canceled. You've never been not canceled.
Well, Dan Schneider knows a lot about being canceled. That's all I know.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, his name is based off of a. I'll tell you after the video.
Okay. I don't know what we're talking about here. I got the sense that something was going over my head, which is also pretty par for the course. Jojira says the soundtrack is all made up of previous Lupin the Third music. Oh, that's interesting, because like I adored that soundtrack.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
and it's all stuff that was already there. That's cool to know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means that it has a pretty consistent sound.
Yeah. Well, I guess that makes sense. Like, if it goes all the way back to the 60s, I think you said. Because there's a lot more of that kind of jazz sound.
Dan Schneider, as someone who watches more YouTube than you, it is most definitely true. No, it's not. That's hyperbolic. Because, yeah, you do. Okay, you probably watch more YouTube than me, but I'm not into politics. So if everything was political, I wouldn't be watching any YouTube videos. You know, like, I watch some some like retro gaming channels and stuff that don't get into politics at all, that are just, you know, reviewing old video games and stuff like that.
And then they're like, really, when you think about it, Mario is Biden and Sonic is Trump. Take that for what you think. And then you're like, I don't even know what that means.
What
but
does
they got
it mean? Okay, Austin, you are not even going to believe what we're reviewing next week.
Oh, my mind's about to be blown?
And you're going to be so stoked. Now, I don't know how long this is, because I've never sat down and read it cover to cover. I know I've maybe read like an issue or two here and there. We're doing comics next week.
Oh boy, now I'm wondering if you're being... if you're lying.
I'm not being facetious. No, I'm not. You will legitimately be happy that we're covering this, whether this is a thing that you like very much or not. Do you have a guess?
Well, it could be anything.
Well, no, but it's of a property that you really care about and I don't as much.
It's property that I care about a lot that you don't, and it's a comic.
And it's not Man-Thing related.
Yeah, because no one's requesting
Nobody's requesting any Man-Thing.
Oh, did it start in comics?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know. Could it be like a Hellboy thing? I don't know.
Okay. So next week, Elliot Slater has asked us to review Extremis.
Oh, I did know Extremis was coming.
Yeah, I didn't know if you knew about that, but
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, we're doing Extremis. Now, how long is Extremis? Is that because I'm worried
I
about?
want to say that's like a 6-issue arc.
Oh, is that all? I was worried about issue count. I thought it could be like 12 or 18 or something.
No. I think that's like a 6-issue mini.
Let me read this last super chat because he's leaving, and we're about to as well. But Fella just left a $10 super chat. Appreciate all the support tonight, guys. You guys are amazing. Gotta go. Just wanted to say to Austin, I'm the guy from Letterboxd that said he doesn't like Rob Zombie.
Oh,
You're still awesome though for liking Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. Peace out, guys.
thank you. Yeah, I watched Lords of Salem, and I was like, this is atrocious. And he was like, oh, I'm sad. I like Rob Zombie. I know a lot of people that like Rob Zombie. Don't feel too bad.
Yeah. Don't feel bad about that. We don't all have to have the same opinions.
Because I'm judging you. But
Austin and I deviate in a lot a places.
Mhm.
Well, again, I don't even like these kind of adventure films all that much. Like, it's not really my bag. I don't get super excited about that. But
all I can say, fella, is you like Beyond the Valley of the Dolls too, so you're okay in my book.
oh my god, Austin is so obsessed with that movie.
Because it's so good. I've shown that to like 6 people at this point, and every single one of them is like, I have no idea what I'm looking at, but I also don't want to turn it off.
Should we make... And I don't want to make it like a straight up follow up video to the ranking that we did, where we put like, you know, favorite, least favorite in order of all the requests for movies. But I think at some point maybe we should do like a Hall of Fame video.
Yeah, we can do.
And kind of aim it at people who maybe haven't even followed the request that much. And just say, like, these are the things that our audience has been getting us to watch that you guys need to look at. I think it'd be really cool to do that. I feel like each of us picked, 10 or 15.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've got my ranked list all on Letterboxd, so it'd be super easy for me.
You wouldn't even have to prepare for it. I would. I have not been keeping up with it, but I have to, because I keep saying Hall of Fame. I haven't actually written them out yet. I need to do that. But you and I would have different things in the Hall of Fame. Although another thing I thought about doing, maybe we're just planning on camera, is we could come up with some kind of like a point system and do a definitive Hall of Fame between the two of us instead of each of us having a separate one, where like everything based on the ranking gets a certain point value, and then we have a cutoff point. So like everything above a certain point value gets on the Hall of Fame no matter what it is. And that'd be kind of a cool way to do it.
Especially when I get Beyond the Valley of the Dolls in your collection.
I don't think you can do it.
I think I can.
I don't think you can do it because I will intentionally give it no points.
Yeah, but we'll have it set so that as long as one person gives it a perfect 10 out of 10, it's on the list.
I think I can rig it otherwise. Anyway, folks, somebody was asking earlier if we were doing anything else tonight. We are not. This is our one stream for this evening. I'll be back tomorrow night for the Captain Logan show. Going to talk about the Daredevil news. We found out this week that they are reworking that show and it's getting delayed, and they're going to be rewriting and refilming a lot of it. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And then Friday night, Austin and I are doing a double feature for the Superhero Rewind commentary project, and we're going to watch and talk about both Spawn and Mystery Men. So look forward to that. And in the meantime, if you would like to make a request, patreon.com/geekvolution, $15 tier, you can ask for a movie or a comic arc or a pilot for a TV show. And Jason and I just started the pilot show, so if it is kid-friendly enough for like a 13-year-old, we'll cover it on that show. But we can bring Austin over also. We can try to force him to do that show with us too. But if it's more adult, we'll do it here. And anyway, you guys are great. We sure appreciate you. We'll see you again next time. I was Captain Logan, and this was Austin, the Day Ghost.
Whoa. I liked that dramatic pause.
Well, your name, it's too dramatic.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
it
that
sounds
is
good.
true.
It
That
really
is
needs
true.
it. You know, it's like the Gray Ghost or something, where like you sound like you should be a cereal.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I want to make my own cereal. That'd be cool.
All right, appreciate
Be
you
like
guys.
Frosted Flakes.
Yum.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. See you, folks.